Welcome to Busy Garden Life. It is towards the end of February and I'm in Michigan, and we have gotten about 1.5 feet of snow probably in the last couple weeks. And I tell you what, I am ready for spring. It has been cold, windy, snowy, and all of the things. I go out to my garden and I can't even step foot in there without it going up to my knees. It is just, can't wait for it to start melting. But I thought, since it's so nasty outside, why not start seeds indoors? Now, sometimes March is, a little bit better for some of the seeds. Most of the seeds, I will wait till March to start. But there are a few that we can start here in February. I wanted to start them a couple weeks ago and just didn't have any time. But things like brassicas, onions, celery, my peppers, I'm going to start those right now. I'm going to kind of get them going because they can take a little bit longer to germinate and actually get big enough where they're a good size to get them planting in the ground. So I know we still have, 3 or 4 months until we can get them in the ground, but I want to start. But before I plant my seeds, I am doing something different this year. Here you can see I have my basket of jumbled seeds that I've just kept and I thumb through. And I had a patient actually, I saw on Facebook, her organization for seeds, and I was like, I have to do that. That's a fantastic idea. So I went and I bought these little boxes in these cases here off of Amazon. I will drop the link in the comments for you just in case you want them. And I am going to label all of the seeds and I'm going to put them in the boxes. That way, if they spill out, they're still in a box instead of everywhere mixing together. And I can keep the bags kind of nice and neat and together because I have a couple of different ones. So I thought I could label them, and with that, I'm also not just going to put the name of them on there. I'm going to put how many weeks early I can start planting. All right, so if you haven't seen my Plan Your Garden Out video, I highly suggest you do that. I started a couple years ago when I started my garden. I had made, it's a mess now. It's an absolute mess, but it's my garden plan. I changed it up a little bit this year, so I actually have to redo it based on how I changed it. But I put all of the things that I wanted to plant, I kind of put it on graph paper and did it to size as much as I could on how I wanted to organize my garden. If you haven't done that, or if you don't do it, and especially if you're new at gardening, this is a great way to organize your garden. For me, it makes it easier on figuring out where things are in the garden, and just next year, like being able to plant it all out the same way. You can mix it around and it's easier just to kind of put it down on where you want it instead of just throwing seeds anywhere in the garden. So I highly recommend doing that. In addition to that, I have been writing when I can start my seeds. So I've gone through all my packets, initially, and I put when I can start them. Some of them I've changed. So like peppers, celery, onions, things like that. 10 weeks early, I'm actually going to start them, 14, 15, 16 weeks early? Because I've noticed that they've taken a lot longer to germinate and get ready for the garden. So I'm starting them early. So sometimes what's on the packet isn't necessarily what's great for you, right? So with that being said, I am going to put the name on here, and I'm also going to put how early I start it. That way I know for next year, right off the bat, I can just go in and I can pull the seeds out that I want to get started early, and then each week after that we can start our seeds. So just kind of a nice new organizing tip and way to do things, and I can keep it all downstairs with all of my stuff. All right, so let's get started on labeling and putting our seeds in our new spot. Okay, so we have finished our 2 containers. I tried to separate a little bit more based on the time frame of when they go in. So I have, I have all my seeds that I can kind of start now in this bin, which is quite a bit. There's quite a few in each one. I think they're, 16 of each one. But this one has red onions, white onions, green onions, peppers, all my different types of peppers, Brussels sprouts, celery, a couple of my direct sow carrots and beets, in which I actually planted carrots, beets, some onions, celery in the garden in the fall, and thought, let's experiment to see if they pop up in the spring. I don't know. It's been a really crappy winter, so I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we'll see. But anyways, we have that done. Now, I actually have a ton of seeds left. 2 of these were not enough. So I need to order a couple more and do more because I think I'm gonna do a whole herb one because I have a lot of herbs. I have some salad, I still have corn, asparagus, some of flowers. I still have all my flower seeds I haven't done. So I'm actually gonna order 2 more of these and see where they go. Most of the vegetables are done, but we need more boxes for those ones, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we have that done and it's ready, while I'm waiting for the other stuff to come in the mail, I am going to get started on planting some seedlings. Okay, so now that we have all of our seeds labeled in our little boxes now, I'm going to start some of my seeds. Today, I want to start all my peppers. Now, I'm going to do a ton of extra peppers, jalapenos, cayenne, because I love making the fire cider. And I've noticed throughout the winter, as I'm doing more, I'm buying jalapenos at the store, and I don't want to have to do that. So I'm going to try to make enough that I can put them away and use them for my fire starter throughout the whole winter. So I need a lot more jalapenos and cayenne peppers to make that happen, which one plant can create quite a bit. So we'll see. But what you need to start, if you didn't watch my video last year on this, I'll kind of recap a little bit of what I do and how I do it. I love these little trays here. There's 36 little seed starting trays. It's nice to start your plants in a smaller area to develop roots. I used to do like 2 per slot. Now I just do 1 because it's easier for me to transfer. Some people like 2 just to make sure that they all germinate, or they get 1 germination for each slot. But for me, it's harder for me to separate them than it is just to let one of the slots go ungerminated, or, one of the plants to not work out. So I tend to just do 1 per slot. Okay. And then I have my seed starting soil. You want seed starting potting soil to put in there, and I just dump it in there and spread it out nicely. And then the easy part is, let me see here. Let's get my jalapenos out first. I still have a lot of seeds that I bought, but I'm hoping that this next year I'm going to start collecting my own seeds and drying them to not have to buy any more seeds. So I literally just put 1 seed in per slot, depending on how many you want. So that's 6 plants for the jalapenos. I think I'm going to do 9 just to make sure that we have enough, in hopes that I get about 6, and then I'll do 9 of the cayenne as well. Now, last year, if you watched our video last year, I did all of this work starting from seeds. My plants looked gorgeous. And the night I planted it, it was a week after our last frost date, so there was plenty time. It was, you know, a good timing, and we got an unexpected hailstorm that night. Pretty much all my tomato plants, all of my pepper plants were like severed. So I ended up having to plant a lot from seed to start with last year, and it was devastating. But we recovered, and we were able to get a decent amount. So I'm hoping I might just wait a little bit longer, which kills me to do, but I might wait a little bit longer to plant next year or this year to make sure that that doesn't happen. All right, so I'm just going to label this right now where I have the, I use these little things. They're reusable. I use a Sharpie marker instead of what they gave me because those tend to come off. You can't really see them. So I'm just going to put them there. Now, after I'm done filling this, I'm going to water the top. And then after I water the top, initially to get the seeds wet, what I'm going to do is I'll water the bottom. That's what I like about these trays is I can easily pull this up, put water in the bottom, and water from the root once they start to germinate and grow, so that you're watering from the bottom and they just take what they need instead of just being soaked. We'll put plastic wrap on top of it. And then kind of stick the labels in the plastic wrap once we're done and put them downstairs under the lights. So I'm just going to kind of get busy here. We're going to do the cayenne peppers next. These cayenne peppers are all seeds that I had saved. I actually had a friend of mine give me these because I didn't grow the cayenne peppers last year. So she gave me a whole bunch of cayenne peppers, and I took some of the seeds out of them. So here's to hoping that they germinate and grow, right? I always feel like you never know if you're going to get the germination out of it like you should. So here's to being able to grow cayenne peppers from our own seeds. All right, so once I kind of set it on top, I just gently push it down ever so slightly and then cover. You could use like a skewer, like a wooden skewer or something, just to kind of gently push it down. I just use my finger and then cover it with soil. Okay, so I'm going to get the peppers in this one. I'm going to do some onions, broccoli, or I don't have any broccoli, onions, Brussels sprouts, celery as well in the other ones, and get these ready to go. All right, I'm finishing up my last ones here, the white onions. I have peppers, onions, celery, Brussels sprouts, a whole bunch of different peppers actually. I like to make the pepper jelly, so I have a lot of green peppers and the jalapenos. Salsa, I have some Hungarian peppers and the Anaheim chili peppers for the salsa that I like to make. Now, as I'm doing this, one thing I said I do one seed per thing, but with the onions and the celery, I do actually a couple in each one. They tend to grow a little bit better when there's a couple in there. I don't know why. That's just what I've kind of noticed. And then those I can separate or just kind of take off one of them that's not doing as well as I transplant them. So, and the seeds are a little bit smaller, so they're harder to kind of just put one in there, so it makes it a little bit easier there. Okay, so we got the white onions and everything labeled. I'm just gonna spray the top of these with water. And then we're gonna cover them and take them downstairs with the lights. That way we can kind of get them growing. Now, peppers do love the heat. So the warmer your light is or your room is that you have those in, I've noticed the better they do. You could also get a warming mat for underneath of them. I've heard a lot of people that put the warming mats up, the peppers just tend to grow like crazy. I don't have those. It might be something I want to do in the future, but I also want a greenhouse. So I don't know that I want to invest in that right now. But food for thought, you could do that as well. All right, so let's water these, cover them, and get them downstairs. Okay, so we're down here in the furnace room. I had to clean off a nice shelf because the shelves were full of stuff. But I did. When you start this, you want your seeds close to the light, right? So the first year I did this, I did not do that close to the light, and a lot of your seedlings would become very leggy, long and lanky. They don't create good root structure because they're just trying to get to the light. So the closer you have them to the light to start off with, the better. I'm going to turn it on full light. We want it on for 18 hours a day, so my lights do have a timer. I'll post a link to the lights that I bought in the comments below. That way you can look to see if they work for you. And we just bought this shelf from Costco, and I kind of just strung the lights to the top of them. Kind of use zip ties, and they kind of have a sticky back to it as well, and just stuck them on there, and then it kind of works really nice. We've makeshifted a platform with paint cans and my kids' blocks. It works just fine. We'll leave the plastic on until we start getting some seedlings germinate. Once they start popping up, we want to take that plastic off. But right now we want to leave it on so that the moisture and the warmth kind of stays inside there. It just seems to help them a little bit. So some of the seeds should be germinating quickly. Others are going to take a little bit longer. I feel like the peppers usually take a good week to 10 days. So we'll kind of just keep checking on it as we go. And then as they get a couple inches tall, we will start kind of putting the fan on it this year, which is something new that I'm going to try. Instead of waiting till the end, I'm going to start putting the fan on it when they're young seedlings. That way they can just build that strong stem early in the growing process this year. And then we'll transfer them to the bigger pots and just add to all of our seeds as we go. But this is step one to getting some of the seeds in the ground in the end of May, early June this year. This is our first seed planting day, and then there's going to be plenty more to come throughout the next few months as we transition and hopefully are looking for spring weather. All right, so stay tuned, because now that we've gotten this done and started, next up is maple syrup season, right? So we are just on the brink of being able to tap the trees. We did it for our first year. Yes, last year we had a video on tapping trees, but we didn't actually get the video out of us making it because there were so many mishaps that we just didn't even know how to put it together for you. It was a whirlwind. So this year, now that we know a little bit more about what we're doing, we're hoping to get a video out of our full maple syrup making process for you. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't liked and subscribed the page, do that, so that way you can get all the notifications of all of the stuff that we're doing on the homestead, including us hatching our own chickens this year, as we are just going to put them in the incubator and try to hatch our own. We have so much that we're going to try and do this summer as well. So stay tuned, and we will see you soon.